The question that I chose for this presentation is, should world governments adopt a global minimum wage? And my answer is no. Think about this. The United States national women's team just won its fourth FIFA World Cup title. And for this great achievement, FIFA paid them $4 million. Now, soon after they won the World Cup, this became the topic. They're talking about disparity of pay. And the reason is this: for the last World Cup that the men played, FIFA paid the winning team $38 million. Why is this the case? The answer to this applies to this debate about minimum wage. It's about simple economics. The men's FIFA World Cup historically has had the largest viewership, has had the highest endorsements, has had the draw of the world-renowned, well-known soccer players from all across the globe. Which means by hosting these events, FIFA gets in a lot of money. It can also afford to pay a lot of money. This has not been the case in women's soccer. So in economic terms, there are countries on the globe, in terms of innovation, in terms of economic strength, in terms of social stability, their economies are in a better position to afford to pay their workers higher wages than in some of those countries where the economy is not as strong, the social political environment is not as stable, and the innovation level is just not there. So from an economic point of view, it doesn't really make sense to come up with just a minimum wage that can be applied across the globe. Another thing to consider in this discussion is not all people across the globe put the same value on money. And that's because some countries are structured in such a way that their governments do a good job of providing for a lot of the things that they need. So if you consider the way we live in America, my wages, they go towards my mortgage, maybe my car payment, maybe my cable bill, some entertainment, groceries, other necessities. As you look across the globe, not everybody has to worry about a car payment. Most people may not have a mortgage. Many places may not even know about cable bills. So the value of a minimum wage must be defined in terms of what are we trying to exchange that money for. So again, when I consider the fact that what we need a global minimum wage for, the answer doesn't really always come to it is about money. Another reason why I don't agree that we do need a global minimum wage is simple. It's really not feasible to pay the same thing in America the same amount as I would pay for someone in Zimbabwe, for example. If those two people cannot switch places, earn the same, and continue living at the same standards, the question is kind of misplaced. When we think about a global minimum wage, it should make sense that if I take my minimum wage from a developed country and go to a developing nation and I trade places and we're both earning the same minimum wage, we should be able to just, smoothly transition. But there's such things as types of governments that people have to live under. And there's such things as government policies such as tariffs that impact. If I don't make a certain product in America and it's made in Zimbabwe and I'm importing it, it's going to be much more expensive for me to enjoy it here than it is for me to enjoy it in Zimbabwe. The illusion that comes from this statement is almost as if we can have, instead of a global minimum wage, we end up with more like a global labor force. And that is a completely different argument. The laws of supply and demand for goods and services, the laws of supply and demand within the labor market, social economic differences, cultural differences, differences in governments, and differences in value systems all play a role in what it is that we're trying to establish when we talk about a minimum global wage. I would define a minimum global wage this way. It is the reasonable amount of money that one should earn to allow that individual to sustain a life that's above poverty. You really don't need a minimum wage for that. If your government takes care of you, if your social economic situation takes care of you, if your culture allows it for it, you can meet this standard without making it about money. So, if I say no, then what is it that I recommend that we do? The minimum wage is not about the money. It is about living above poverty. Whatever shape or form that might take, that is what this debate should be about. Thank you.